Hello, everyone. Welcome as everyone comes in to join us today. Looking forward to talking to you all about maximizing your career impact through the Harvard Extension School. And I'm going to wait just a minute or two to get going as more and more people join us. And thank you for all of you who are writing into the chat to the hosts and panelists today. It seems like you're coming in from all around the world, so I'm really, really excited to see that. And we're already at over 100 people, so excited to have you all join us. Thank you for coming. I'm just going to wait another few seconds as things get started here and more people join, and then we'll be launching into our content. Excellent. So I'm going to get started. Welcome again to those who just joined to Maximizing Your Career Impact through the Harvard Extension School. My name is Amanda Peters, and I'm Director of Career Advising and Programming for the Harvard Extension School, and also an Associate Director of the Faculty of Arts and Sciences Office of Career Services. And I'm joined by my colleague, Shoshana Mavor, the other member of the Harvard Extension School Career Services team. And I'll let her just introduce herself.
Hello, everyone. Welcome. Thank you so much for joining us today. I'm Shoshana Mavor. I'm the Assistant Director for Harvard Extension School Career Services. I'll be putting some links into the chat for you throughout today's program. Thanks again for joining us.
Thank you, Shoshana. So today we are going to cover a number of things, and I am going to have a presentation and then take your questions at the end. But I'm first going to go into an overview of the career resources that we have available at the Harvard Extension School, and then address how you can position your specific academic journey to address your career. Any questions that I can't get to, as I'm assuming with the number of people that we have online right now, there's going to be quite a lot. Shoshana and I are going to be in the chat directly after this at the Library Career and Academic Resources booth at the Academics Fair, and we're happy to answer any questions we don't get to there. So thanks a lot for joining us. But first, as we get going, I wanted to get a sense of the virtual room right now and have you enter into the chat one word that describes how you feel about careers or the job search. I'm having a feeling that many people, based on the other events that I've attended today, have many feelings about it, and that's probably why you joined us today. But I'd love to get a sense of those of you who are here. And so far, I have answers like petrified, excited, nauseous, anxious, not encouraging, challenging, right? Anxious. We have a lot of the same themes, but also hopeful, wanting more from my career. Again, excited, and so forth. So these are very, very common feelings that we hear regularly in the events that we hold and also in our career advising sessions. And I'm hoping that through what we're going to cover today, I'm able to calm a little bit of those fears and let you know that there's people here to support you, but also a lot of useful resources, but also keep up that excitement and the sense of opportunity for those of you who are feeling that side of things right this minute. I love that one person put in optimistic, and so this is also just an opportunity for some people to check out some new opportunities, new possibilities, even if you are really happy with your current career. So as we get started, I wanted to make sure, I'm not sure what everyone got to attend earlier today, if you got to attend some of the information, particularly on what the Harvard Extension School is, but I wanted to make sure that we're using a similar vocabulary when we're speaking about the Harvard Extension School. And this is also when it comes to career, of course, because you are going to need to tell your story to others, and that's something we'll be talking about more later. And you want to be speaking with your current employer, potential future employers, networking connections and be able to share with them about the Harvard Extension School. So just very, very briefly, right? The Harvard Extension School was founded in 1910 to provide high quality part-time Harvard education to working adults. It's one of the 12 degree granting schools at Harvard and is part of the Division of Continuing Education within the Faculty of Arts and Sciences. And the Faculty of Arts and Sciences encompasses Harvard College, the Graduate School of Arts and Sciences, the School of Engineering and Applied Sciences, and the Harvard Extension School. It's fully accredited, and degree alumni are part of the Harvard Alumni Association. And then I just wanted to add that certificate of program alumni are associate members of the Harvard Extension School Alumni Association. And in addition to these things, right, Harvard Extension School really leads the way, of course, as you all know, in remote and hybrid learning, and was really instrumental in helping Harvard schools as a whole, Harvard University as a whole, adapt to the pandemic, but also Harvard Extension School adapts curriculum, instructions, right, what's being offered, instructors, I meant, depending on the needs of the marketplace and the kind of knowledge that's really becoming necessary as you move forward in your career. And so some of these things might come up when you're having these career conversations and talking about, if you're taking classes in the future, how Harvard Extension School is part of that. So as I mentioned, right, there's people from such a wide array of backgrounds who are here today on this call, but also who are attending classes at the Harvard Extension School. And this is one of the things that I just incredibly value about working at the Harvard Extension School and really drew me here from my past workplaces. Um, and so you're all coming for different reasons, and I wanted to get a sense of all of you and what you are looking to, or why you're considering the Harvard Extension School. So I am going to launch a poll. I'm launching it right now, and you are able to select multiple reasons that you're considering taking courses at the Harvard Extension School, or even just looking into it today. And as you fill this out, I just wanted to let you know that I personally took classes at the Extension School when I was transitioning into career counseling over 18 years ago. I took classes in organizational change and also in workplace and HR, and that was really helpful for me in my career transition. More recently, while as a staff member here, I took Understanding Architecture last spring, and that was both for the mental challenge and for the fun. And so really, I know that personally that there's many reasons to take classes here. So I'm going to end the poll now, as it seems fewer people are filling it out at the moment, and I'm going to share the results with all of you. And as hopefully, and you can see on your screen right now, people on this call are taking, exploring classes here for all of the reasons on here. Some people want to enhance existing skill sets and knowledge and really get up to date. As I mentioned, that's a key area here. We have 46% who want to explore a particular topic area of interest, 33% who want to advance at their current workplace, 19% who want to aid transition within the current industry or role, 45% who are looking at a career change, and then 32% who are looking at preparation for future education. And I have to say, Shoshana and I meet regularly with people who are exploring PhDs, for example. And then others who want to finish a degree. And then we have others who want to learn a new skill, for example. And I noticed that some people have written in the chat for others want to establish credibility or to supplement their background and their education in very specific ways. So one of the reasons I wanted to delve in that, right, is so that I can address some of the specific things that you're interested in, but also to let you know that no matter your reason for joining here, we have career-related services that could be relevant to you. Through the Career and Academic Resource Center, we have webinars that are available to all enrolled students. These include webinars on the nuts and bolts of the job search, like resume and cover letter writing for working professionals, or navigating a successful career change, or leveraging your degree and certificate for an internal career mobility, as some of you are interested in. We also have career spotlights that delve into the career paths of specific Harvard Extension School alumni or other professionals in related fields. We have specialty programs for those, including like pursuing a PhD, for example, or on particular topic areas like careers in international relations. And then we also have a few employer sessions, such as one recently with a Harvard Extension School alum came to talk about opportunities and his experience at BCG Gamma, just as one example. In addition, we have virtual drop-in hours once a month that are open to all Harvard Extension School students. And again, as you'll notice, these are virtual, both our webinars and these drop-in hours, so that we can work with people who are around the world. And those are 15-minute meetings with me, first come, first served basis, where people can ask questions about maybe their specific resume or other job search document, their LinkedIn profile, maybe a salary negotiation, or a more general career conversation in these brief meetings. In addition, we have the Harvard Extension School Virtual Career Fair, which takes place in the spring and is open to enrolled certificate program students, as well as admitted degree students and degree alumni. And that features employers who are specifically targeting Harvard Extension School experienced professionals. And then finally, for those who are looking to perhaps apply in the future to our degree programs, we have a wide variety of resources through the Harvard Office of Career Services, where I am sitting today, for admitted degree students and degree alumni. And this includes individual career advising with Shoshana or myself, Crimson Careers, which is the Faculty of Arts and Sciences Office of Career Services job board and employer database, access to Harvard alumni through various means, Office of Career Services, career fairs, employer sessions, and other events, as well as a variety of online resources. So we have really so many different resources available to you directly through career services. Plus, I did just want to mention there's other Harvard-wide, of course, related services that are also really relevant to your career, whether it be some of the on-campus think tanks, many of which have public programs, or whether for admitted degree students and degree alumni, organizations like the Harvard Innovation Labs. And so many different things on campus and beyond that could be relevant to you and your career. So now we're going to dive into the meat of what we wanted to talk about today in terms of how you can position your academic journey. Even before you can begin that process to support your particular career goals and career development. But of course, what's really key in all of this is that you be proactive. And by attending today, you're starting that process. And also that you have some specific goal in mind that you might be working toward, even if it's sort of a general goal. So first of all, you're going to need to identify what you want to get out of your time at the Harvard Extension School. And you started that with the poll, but we're going to delve more deeply into that. You're going to want to look at strategically filling the gaps between where you are now and that goal in your knowledge, skills, and abilities. And then actively build your network in the classroom and outside of the classroom. You're going to need to be able to communicate what you learned at the extension school and then reassess regularly, because I'm always hearing how students, alumni learned new things or got exposed to new things through their time at the extension school and at Harvard as a whole, and made adjustments in their career direction or in their career goals. So that's what we're going to cover in the next few minutes before we get into questions. So as you start To clarify your goals as relates to the Harvard Extension School and your career, I'm going to ask you a few questions. And if it's helpful for you, you might want to have a place to take notes. We dive a lot more deeply into this if you become a student and you end up attending some of our events in the Navigating a Successful Career Change. But I'm just going to hit on a few key things today. So start by asking yourself some of these questions, right? What skills do you enjoy using on the job or in other parts of your life? For so many of you, right, you're going to come in with an average of 10 years of experience or more. And you might be good at very many things, but you don't want to necessarily bring all of those things forward with you into your next step. So carefully consider what you really want to spend your time doing every day. What are your professional interests, right? What kind of impact do you want to make through your work? Is another really important thing that I know a lot of Harvard Extension School students think about. What environment do you want to spend your time in at work? And also, what kind of people do you want to spend your time around? Who do you want to be interacting with? I really recommend, usually at the level of our students, that you not focus necessarily on one specific career title, unless, of course, you're looking to navigate within your current employer. But what are the elements of this role that you want to bring together into your next step? If you have a hard time identifying some of this, there's a lot of free tools out there. Of course, we do have tools if you're an admitted degree student that you can delve into even further, but there's a lot out there for everyone, including through the National Association, the National Career Development Association, which has a free internet sites for career planning page. And Shoshana is going to put that link into the chat. And later on, when you have a chance, you can scroll down to the self-assessment tab and take some of those free self-assessments. You can also speak to people within your organization or in other roles or industries who are doing things that use the skill sets and knowledge that you want to move forward with. You can analyze perhaps 5 job descriptions that might come up in your search and use some of those things to see what employers are really looking for in these kinds of paths. Read industry or professional association newsletters, and also access the Bureau of Labor Statistics Occupational Outlook Handbook or LinkedIn Career Explorer. And Shoshana is also going to include those in the chat, as many people tend to be very interested in these. And through there, you can get a sense of the skills, knowledge, abilities, competencies that are needed in the new areas that you're exploring. So these are just a few ways that you can begin that exploration process. Thanks, Shoshana, for sharing those. And then, of course, it is time to sort of, based on that research, what are those gaps you've identified between what you have to offer now and where you want to go, and what the needs of the marketplace are, or of other employers? What do you need to build? And then you can hone in on the specific knowledge, skills, abilities, and so forth that you might be able to use in your next role. And here's where, in so many ways, the Harvard Extension School, our services, and so forth can come into play. Obviously, goes without saying, but I'm going to say it anyway. Courses can be a fantastic way to check things out before committing to a full career change. Read information on a class ahead of time, if possible, to be clear on what you'll be learning, how you're going to be learning it, and who you're going to be learning that information from. These things are so important when you're considering filling those gaps toward your career steps. For example, right, some of you might be individual contributors, but maybe you really want to work more in a team environment. Maybe there's classes that really focus in and use team projects to help you gain these skill sets so that you'll be able to continually hone that particular skill set. Or maybe a class focuses in on a particular topic area of knowledge, or you'd be able to actually apply a particular skill set, as many of you in the technical classes would do. Or maybe you'll gain exposure to particular people in industry or other areas through the content of the course, depending on what it is. So thinking about those things and how they can fill the gap is so important. There are a variety of people in Harvard Extension School clubs, right, that it can be really useful to engage with. And Shoshana is going to put the link to them into the chat so you get a sense of the kinds of clubs that are available. Of course, industry professional associations can also be a way to learn outside of here. But here on campus or virtually for most of you, attending events featuring guest speakers or Harvard Extension School alums can also help fill those gaps in knowledge and help you figure out what you don't yet know, which is always the hardest gap to fill. Use the library, a seriously I think, valued resource when it comes to the job search. You have access, if you're a student here, to databases where you can gain additional names of people to reach out to. You can learn about particular opportunities or organizations that could be useful to target. And there's so many other services and resources here, like your access to LinkedIn Learning, that can be really, really valuable. And then, of course, goes without saying, but Career and Academic Resource Center events, from those that Shoshana and I run in the career section to our colleague runs a lot of great academic related resources and events. And he also runs a fantastic podcast. So no matter what your level of involvement in the Extension School, there's various ways that you can access resources. And I did want to just mention for those who might have missed, I see a lot of people have joined since I covered what our basic services are. If you come to the Library Career and Academic Resources booth in the Academics Fair, you can view a short video that I filmed on our resources overall for those at any level of involvement with the Extension School. But then we've come to our number one recommendation, right? Network. Always the number one thing that alumni recommend to students, as well as our career recommendation. Even if you just take one course, you have an opportunity to build an amazing network through the Harvard Extension School. And I'm going to read this quote because I think it's fantastic, directly from an alum. She writes, use your network and follow your dreams. Reach out to the professors or classmates whose journeys you found interesting, and never be wary of starting a conversation. We are so lucky to be part of a community of so much talent and passion. And that's just one of many that we see of quotes and from people we talk to about the value of the Harvard Extension School network on their career. So many ways to network, as I mentioned, from sharing information with your experienced classmates, asking them questions inside and outside of class, right? Even setting up a job search group, perhaps, with others in your class, to meeting with faculty in advise in their office hours. I think that can be really useful, and not a lot of students take advantage of those. Your TAs are also, in most cases, experienced professionals who can also add a lot of value and talk to you about your career. Of course, staff and also the various programs on campus are wonderful resources. The guest speakers who might speak in your classes or in other Harvard Extension School or Harvard related events, alumni clubs, and LinkedIn, and particularly around the alumni piece. I just wanted to mention, and Shoshana is going to put this into the chat, that once classes begin, you can add the Harvard Extension School to the education part of your LinkedIn profile. Thanks, Shoshana, for putting that link in the chat to allow others to see that you have this school in common. And that can be a really helpful way to build relationships. You can browse through that page, others who've taken classes at the Harvard Extension School. It'll say alumni on there, but they're not necessarily degree alums. They might have taken a class or two. And you can sort and see what skills they have. You can see where they work. There's so many useful ways that you can use that tool. You can really build an incredible network here. And then, of course, you're going to want to communicate everything that you've learned. And I was really glad to hear in one of the earlier talks that a current student, I think now alum as well, actually mentioned that it's really helpful to record for yourself what you've learned in your classes as you're learning it. Practice talking about what you're learning to current colleagues, right, as this person in the quote did, to potential employers and so forth. Maybe you focused in on a particular area on a project. You might add that to your resume to emphasize a new skill set or a new topic area of knowledge. Really keep practicing, no matter who you're talking to, what you've learned, how that is relevant to your career goals based on your research and so forth. And I just wanted to really mention that through taking courses here, you'd all be demonstrating a commitment to lifelong learning, time management, adaptability, flexibility. There's so much many of you are juggling, and other skills that are really important to employers and show up in things like the World Economic Forum's skills for 2025, just as one example. And then finally, you're going to want to continually set time aside to reassess, right? Through all the exposure that you're going to get, the self-assessment, the people you're talking to, the networking, the engagement with clubs and other activities at the extension school and your classes, you might end up on a new path that you never expected. So set that time aside, carefully consider what's one step I can move toward my new goal. And just in terms of what's next, before I move on to questions, as I mentioned, it can be really helpful just to set time in your calendar, especially when you're in school, in terms of when you're going to focus on the next step in your career and one step toward your progress. Consider your goals, look at what gaps you're trying to fill, register for those classes to help fill those gaps. Attend CARC webinars once you're enrolled and the semester begins, and explore all the resources available to you. Get to know people, talk about your experience, and so forth. And I'm going to move on to questions, but definitely if I don't have time to answer yours, visit our booth and please put your questions into the Q&A, as they're a little bit harder to see in the chat. But please visit our booth from 3 to 4 and 5 to 6, and we'll be there to answer your questions if we don't get to them now. So I am going to move on to your questions, as I mentioned, and I'm keeping an eye on the time as well. And I see that Shoshana has answered some of them. So please put your questions into the chat, and it can be really helpful. I did want to note that some people are asking who missed the beginning of the presentation, who are the webinars available to, and when are they available to you? And once you've started, once you've enrolled in a course and you have begun attending a course, once classes launch in that semester, you're going to be receiving emails from our career services team, HES Careers, and you'll be able to sign up for those webinars. And in addition to the nuts and bolts, we change the other webinars depending on the particular year. Of course, obviously, we are always offering those basics like resume, networking, LinkedIn, and so forth. So someone asked, if I were to take a graduate certificate, what would be the impact on career growth? Um, Really depends, right, on the particular person and on your particular skills. But often, right, with a certificate, you have one extra area of credibility that you have an expertise in a specific area. Then a lot of it is how you communicate the skills, knowledge, and abilities that you've gained through that certificate to ongoing employers. Sometimes if you're looking to leverage it internally, right, the earning of the certificate itself and the knowledge you've gained through that is enough to move you to another level if for some reason it's a particular area that of gap that might have been needed to move into a new role. If you're looking to make a total career change, right, you can market these new skills and knowledge that you've gained, plus all of you have experience, right, plus the knowledge and background that you bring forward from your past to existing employers, and sell them on how this combination of skill sets, because I really like to look at it as a portfolio of what you have to offer an employer. This combination of experience, knowledge, abilities, education can really help them. And that's what you're marketing in the next step. And we do talk about in our webinars about how to market in particular certificates. So someone said, I'm curious about mentorship abilities. Might career services help with these connections, or would that be through academic advising? Excellent question. And mentorship, of course, happens organically as well. But I did want to just mention a few things that are relevant. First of all, for all enrolled students who are able to attend the CARC career webinars, sometimes we have guest speakers They might be those career spotlights that I mentioned. We had someone the other day, an alum from Accenture, talking about his career path in consulting and sustainability. Sometimes these guest speakers are willing to talk to students outside, and they might share their contact information through these webinars and be ready to be contacted. In terms of those who are admitted into degree programs, right, you have more structured programs, including the opportunity to use what we have called firsthand advisors. It's an opportunity, a platform for current students to connect to alumni from all the Faculty of Arts and Sciences schools and beyond, to get career advice through career conversations, to have resume reviews and have mock interviews. And there's many other ways as well, but just as I'm taking a bunch, those are just a few ways to connect. Someone else asked, okay, how does industry, for example, business, technology, and entertainment, view Harvard Extension School versus traditional masters and MBAs at top schools? Um, So they also are asking about statistics. And I wanted to say a few different things. Right, first of all, we talk to alumni every day, and generally we hear that people get positive reactions from employers about their degree. It is a specific degree. You asked about MBAs. The ALM in management is a different degree. And I believe you can get a lot of the questions about those differences answered at the booth for the management programs. But you do have a true master's degree that is taken seriously by employers. And I just wanted to bring up that alum I mentioned the other day who presented on Accenture consulting and sustainability. He's worked in many large businesses. And he said he's only gotten positive reactions to his degree. People really haven't questioned it. If they do question it, you can of course mention it is one of the 12 degree granting schools at Harvard, and it is a true Harvard degree. But really, you'll be selling what you've learned. You're taking the difficult Harvard courses. You are a Harvard student as an alum. So I really wanted to just get that across. Thank you for all the people who are writing thank you. Really, really appreciate it. Okay, someone had asked, and I'm going to take just around 2 more questions. Shoshana has had to leave the chat to go to our chat room in our booth. So if you have other questions, let us know. One easy one to answer. Someone had asked, I assume the M in ALM is for master's degree, but what does the AL stand for? Sorry to use that abbreviation when people aren't used to it. The full degree is a Master of Liberal Arts, right? And many people at Harvard, our master's degrees are written in Latin. And of course, the abbreviation would be ALM. And so we often talk with that particular language when talking about the master's degree. Someone had asked, is support available for students with entrepreneurial aspirations? Shoshana and I meet in advising appointments with degree program alumni interested and students interested in entrepreneurship quite regularly. But also as a degree student, you would have access to the Harvard Innovation Labs. And those are focused entirely on startups and entrepreneurship. And we've had Harvard Extension School students win some of the major competitions through there as well, but also be entered into their venture programs where students are able to get really in-depth coaching and work with a cohort across Harvard of students who are creating entrepreneurial ventures. We also, of course, have those mentorship opportunities. And since so many, both just course takers, but also alumni from the Extension School are entrepreneurs, they can give amazing advice. And then I'm going to just scroll through the chat to see if there's anything else, but I so appreciate all of you attending. And let me just see if I've missed anything recently. One person, I did want to address one other thing before we end for today and we move into the chat in our booth. I've gotten quite a few questions about international students and engagement here at the Extension School. As I mentioned prior, Shoshana and I meet regularly in advising appointments, but we also present regularly via webinars to students around the world. I might be talking to a student in Russia, one in Malaysia, one in the Florida in the United States within one day. So we regularly meet with people. As an admitted degree student, you would have access to, as I mentioned, our mentorship platform, which cuts across all areas of the world, but also all Harvard Faculty of Arts and Sciences schools, and also some additional resources in terms of jobs internationally. For students who are just taking one course, our CARC webinars, most of them are recorded. The only ones that wouldn't be would be if a particular guest speaker asked us not to, but almost all of them are recorded and are available to you at any time when you are free to watch them. And of course, you could attend live if it fits for your particular time zone. So I hope I answered most of the questions that we have here. I apologize if I missed anything as I'm going through all of these. Thank you to all of you who wrote through with specific questions, but also just to say thank you. We really, really appreciate it. So thank you for coming, and I hope I answered what you needed to get out of today, but always happy to answer other questions if you have them in the future. Take care.